Good morning everyone, welcome back to another video. So this morning we're grouting the splashback, sealing the worktops with Osmo, then we're going to be back at the chateau catching up with Michael and Martin and the sandblasting. So we better crack on.
Good morning everyone, welcome back to another day. It's been raining and windy all night and the sun's come out a little bit, but it's not perfect. So a lot of people said yesterday we haven't covered tiles. Now I want to cover that subject. Martin said it's not completely necessary because unless he's actually pointing it at the tiles, the nozzle, it's not going to touch them. I mean, you can see he's been taking off the old paint here to reveal the old rendered surface. He's got right close to there and you can see it hasn't even touched the tiles. So if he wants it to be directional, it can be. So we don't actually need to cover them except for when he does the floor, we do have some large sheets of zinc metal which will go up against the wall and we'll protect those base tiles so that he can sandblast the floor tiles, and obviously around things like the fireplace we'll put some metal up for him there, but actually they're fine and we didn't need to do it in the first place, so we're okay. So obviously Martin has been finding it very difficult to get some pieces off. Some places the metal looks like beyond repair, but actually if you go at it and you chisel off the old rust, you get back to a nice, neat, clean surface. It's actually all superficial, it's all on the surface. And I've done some research on rust. Apparently 1 millimetre of rust can expand up to 10 millimetres. That much metal can turn into that much rust. So once you chip that off, actually the original metal's still under there and the profile of it still looks pretty nice. So last night, after Martin finished, I was in here for probably about 3 hours with a hammer and a chisel, and I was chiseling off the old rust. And I got a lot of it off, but it got to about 9 o'clock at night and I had to give up because I was just so tired. So hopefully, after he's finished today, I'll be able to do another couple of hours down here and just try and clean up those beams. And I have been quite successful. I don't know if you can see here, you can see the bottom edge of that beam it's got a very neat, crisp edge compared to what it was. And we also found a maker's mark. And we know now which foundry made the beams. So it was called Anzin, A-N-Z-Z-I-N. A-N-Z-I-N, yeah, Anzin. So it's from the north of France. And they actually made railway tracks. So that's interesting. So we know where it came from now. And unfortunately, there's not really much I can do down here and while he's working. So it'll have to be, wait till he's finished, get back up there with my hammer and chisel, give the beams a good bashing. And then actually the girders, they're not actually cast iron, they're steel, because I actually chipped away a piece of metal and it revealed a beautiful shiny piece of steel underneath. So underneath that terrible rust is nice strong metal. So we're okay. So we can't do anything in the kitchen, but in the meantime, I've got something very special to show you. Now, there's a little story about this. This was brought to us, these were brought to us by the grandson of a carpenter. Now, he was also a carpenter, but his grandfather was a carpenter, and he owned a firm in the next town, Laval, and they did all the carpentry for the chateau. And he had these in his archive, and he asked us if we would like them. And of course, we said yes. We snatched his hand off. Right, okay, so in here are all the hand-drawn plans from 1905 for all the various woodwork. Now, these mainly consist of the woodwork on that side. There obviously was another folder for the stuff on this side, but we don't have that. So we don't have plans for the grand staircase, things like that, but we do have plans for the basement kitchen. Now, I've just got to find them. That's for the stairwells. Now, an interesting thing I learned from a seller of historic books is that you never handle paper with gloves on, because you can't feel what you're doing. You can actually damage things, especially like books and paper. So you just need to make sure your hands are very clean and dry. Ah, here we go. Now, it might be hard to see. Let me move that over there. This here is the plan for, well, in the corner of the basement kitchen, there is like a curved recess. And for a couple of years, we didn't know what that was. We thought maybe, was it a fireplace? What was there? We had no idea. And then looking through this, I found out exactly what was there. And it was a special cupboard. Now, this was in the servants' dining area. And this is the cupboard that all of the cutlery, plates, knives and forks, glasses, cups, whatever the servants ate from, this is where it was stored. And we are going to use that for our cutlery and things that we use when we use that area, that staff dining area, because we're going to put a big table back in that place. And that's probably where most of the time, unless we've got guests, we'll probably eat dinner down there. So this is the cupboard. You can see it had tiroir, that means drawer. So there's 2 drawers in the center. So because of this, I'm going to scan this tonight, and the carpenter is actually coming tomorrow. And I'm going to do him a full-size printout of this. So because of this, because somebody took the time to conserve these documents, we can put back exactly what was there, even though we had no idea at the start what was there. Now we know. So it can be built to scale. Now, originally they were built with châtaignier, which was chestnut. Now, the reason they used chestnut in the servants' areas is because back then it was a cheaper wood. But nowadays, chestnut and oak are exactly the same price. So we're going to use oak instead, because it's a much tougher wood, much more sturdy, and the carpenter prefers working with it. But what we will do is we'll use like an English chestnut stain so that it looks like it used to. It has the same colour as the original chestnut, but it'll be in oak, which is a little bit nicer. So there we go. So that is that plan. Let's fold that up. I need to keep that out because I need to scan that. Now, this is also very interesting. So this plan, what we have here, is actually a floor plan for the servants' kitchen area, the servants' entrance hall, the 2 offices, and what we now use as the boiler room. So as you can see here, you've got office de domestics, which is just a place of work for staff. So it's a staff area, basically. And that is where the dining table was. You can see in the corner the placard, that is where the cupboard was that we can put back. Now, originally there was a screen across here. It was a wooden panelled screen and to about waist height, and above that it was frosted glass panels, and that was to divide the kitchen, probably for hygiene reasons, that was to divide the actual cooking area from the dining area. Now, we're not going to put that back because it was huge and it kind of blocks the light. But we do have the plans for it, which are here. So if you can see here, I'll put a piece of paper under it. That is the original screen that went across. And there wasn't much space to get around either side. It was literally the width of a small door, and it had all of the glass in it. Now, what we are going to do is the kitchen cabinets are going to be the same width as this. So if you can imagine here, you've got these panels and these sort of longer rectangle panels. So what I will get the carpenter to do is the actual kitchen cupboards that run along the back wall, I'll get him to make the exact same design as the screen. So you'll have a cupboard, two cupboards, and a drawer that's the width of the cupboard. You can see like that. And obviously it won't have the glass frosted screen on the top, but we could probably have a shelf or something that ran along that matches the design of the top. Obviously it won't have glass in it, but you know, the nice detailed top part. So it will give the impression of that original piece of furniture that's no longer there. And I think that's the only way we can sort of pay homage to that without rebuilding it exactly as it was. So as you can see here, this is where the screen was. This is where the screen was. And obviously you can see the two columns there. And this is the scullery area. And then you've got garde-manger, which is the pantry. So we know exactly, and interestingly enough, we need to have this door made that goes into the pantry, the scullery. And I've just was trying to remember what way the door opened. It's on the plan. So we can put the door back exactly as it was. It opened into the room and to the left. So there you go. So these are so valuable to us. And I will at some point scan all of them so that we have digital copies. But I can't do the whole lot because there's quite a lot to do. But what I do is as we need plans for certain things, we will just scan them as and when we need them. But you can see here, look at this beautiful ball nose detail on the top. To scale, that was the top of the screen. So we can get Paddy the carpenter to make some details on the top of the kitchen that look like that. And or even if he makes oak worktops, he could even put that ball nose design on the front of the worktop because they're quite thick. So I think we'll do that so that we pay homage to that design, and it just feels like, it will feel like they took that screen and then they converted it into kitchen cupboards and moved it to the back. So that's what we'll do. And yeah, so we need to speak to him tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm going to scan these, get them copied, print them out full size for him so that he can take some measurements. And the last little thing I'm going to show you, look at this. This is for the back. So this is for the windows. You can see the basement steps that go down. This is the plan for the door that Rick painted recently. And you can also see here, you've got plans for all the windows, all done to scale. So if we need anything rebuilt, we have the plans. So there you go. So thanks for watching, everyone. And we'll see you again, hopefully for a bit more action tomorrow.